negotiating a fair deal that ensures our team stays here. I want to thank Roger Goodell. The commissioner played a key role being part of some of these negotiations in Zoom meetings to ensure that we got a good, fair deal done for all. Roger Goodell is a Western New Yorker by birth. He understands the importance of the Buffalo Bills, and I thank him. I also want to thank everyone else who played a role in making this happen. There are so many people out there, including Senator Schumer, our own Congressman Brian Higgins, members of the Assembly and Senate and Legislature, who, while they may not have been part of the negotiating team, they were there pushing us all to ensure we got a good, fair deal done for our community. It is a proud moment. It is a moment that we've worked for. A lot of people wondered why we didn't announce this sooner. These are complicated transactions, very complicated transactions that go into all the aspects associated not just with constructing a stadium, but the 30-year lease thereafter. As you've seen, I've talked about what we will no longer pay in Erie County government, and that was part of this complicated transaction. Let's put it this way. Those are terms I made certain we have in this
time. Today we have the answers. And the first question is, can we keep the Buffalo Bills in Buffalo? And I am very proud today to answer a resounding yes. And the second question is, how long will the Buffalo Bills stay in Buffalo? And I negotiated a deal where they will stay here for 30 years. So that is significant progress. In the context of that, my grandchildren will be able to enjoy football as well as their children as well. So this is a long-term prospect for us and answers the anxiety that many Western New Yorkers have is, will the Bills leave us? And for the next 30 years, they are going to call Western New York their home. So that's fantastic. The other question is, a new stadium, Orchard Park, who's going to build this? I'm really proud that this will be built by union labor. Over 10,000 jobs. This is the largest construction project in the history of Western New York. So we're going to put our people to work and make this building be spectacular, something we're very proud of. Answering the questions about the costs. The stadium estimates right now are $1.4 billion. And I know there was a lot of talk about the state and the public share collectively with the county approaching even $1 billion of that amount. We've been negotiating a long time, driving a bargain that I believe is very beneficial to the taxpayers in terms of that possibility of $1 billion. And as a result, the state share will be $600 million, which equates to less than half of the cost of the stadium, about 43%, as well as money from Erie County. And I want to thank County Executive Mark Poloncarz for being a true partner in this. $250 million from the County of Erie, as well as $550 million from the NFL and the Buffalo Bills. And so again, this is a major project for us. It also is going to generate revenue, not just the $385 million expected in overall economic benefit, and also goes to our identity. We are known globally for being the home of the Buffalo Bills, and it's part of our local psyche, and it makes us so proud, and it directs tourism. And it's, again, part of our identity, which has been, we're so proud to have the Buffalo Bills as part of our home. But that's not quantifiable. Let me give you some real numbers in addition to the $385 million overall economic benefit. In terms of direct revenues to the state of New York, over $19 million, and that number is going to continue to increase. That is what we account for from the income tax on the players' salaries. Again, that's going to continue going up, as well as the additional money equating up to a total $27 million of direct benefit because of sales tax from hospital beds, hotel beds and restaurants, and extra engagement in the community hospitality industry with out-of-town visitors coming from all over, from Canada and elsewhere, who come here, stay overnight, and enjoy the experience. So that's $27 million in direct payment to the state we anticipate. And therefore, when you take that in the context of a $600 million state share, our share is paid off after 22 years of a 30-year agreement. So that is why that is very significant. And in the context of our total share of public financing overall with the county and the state is 60.7%. Just comparing where we were in the past, when this stadium was originally built, 1973, 100% of that was financed by the public. And even the renovations in 1998, 100% financed by the public sector. And our financing back in 2013, when the renovations were made, that was 73%. So again, we negotiated hard, we drove those numbers down, and now our state share is 43%, and the public share overall is only 60.7%. Compare that to some other recent NFL stadiums in comparable markets. Again, we're considered a small market. Cincinnati was 94% public financing, Indianapolis 86% public financing, and Baltimore was 91%. So I wanted to accomplish two major goals: keep the Bills here in Western New York, keep them in the state of New York, because this is not just a Western New York point of pride, it's a point of pride for all New Yorkers, but also make sure that it made sense for our taxpayers in terms of our commitment and our return on the investment, which will be paid off in the next 22 years. So we're very excited about this. It's a great day for Western New York, and I'm really proud we could negotiate such a good deal for the state and our many, many fans in Western New York State, and throughout the country. With that, I'll be happy to take any questions.
Thank you very much, Governor. Reporters, please use the raise hand function in the lower right-hand corner of your screen. We're compiling a list now. Governor will be right with you. Governor, first question comes from John Warrow of the Associated Press. John, your mic is open.
Hello, Governor Hochul. John Warrow with the AP. Just wondering, what is the level of disappointment that this process couldn't have been started a lot sooner instead of being crammed into an 8-month period, and lack the foresight to maybe meet more of Western New York needs, such in Buffalo, such as what the Bagulas proposed and were looking for as a downtown stadium back in 2014 when they purchased the team?
Well, that predates my time. I've been in this position literally 7 months this week, and I was aware that they were interested in starting negotiations earlier, but that did not occur. But I made sure that this was one of my priorities, to jumpstart the negotiation process so they'd have certainty to know that they had a very willing partner, but who was going to drive a hard bargain. I mean, we're not going to give away taxpayer resources without a deal that I knew would keep them here in the state of New York. Also made sure that it made financial sense for us as taxpayers. So we had to jumpstart it, and therefore I devoted considerable time to making sure this got done. Again, working with our partners, the NFL was great, as well as the County of Erie and the team. So a lot of time was invested to make up for lost time. We did talk about whether or not the team was interested in a downtown stadium. In fact, the state paid for a study to analyze the impacts of that and the cost of that. And we presented that and said, is this something you'd be interested in? Because clearly this would be they're an important decision maker in whether or not it's downtown or remains in Orchard Park. So we were very open to either location, and they determined, and you can ask them why, but it was better for the team overall to stay with the same fan experience, which is rather unique in the NFL. People didn't even want a dome stadium, which was on the table as well, just because they love that outdoor experience. And there's no one more passionate than Buffalo Bills fans. And so we want to make sure they could keep the tailgating, which is a real important part of the culture there as well. So I think we're in a good place. We are actually would have had to get to this place because I have to put the $600 million state commitment on the table now in our budget negotiations, which will be, we're going on right now and we'll be wrapping up in, hopefully the next week, matter of days. And so the timing actually worked out well. I mean, I don't think there was any harm done other than probably a little anxiety on the part of the team and the fans, but I was able to rectify that and get the job done.
Thank you very much, Governor. Your next question this afternoon comes from Shannon Ross of WGRZ-TV. Shannon, your mic is open.
Good afternoon. It's actually Jeff Russo, anchor reporter here for WKBW. Good afternoon, Governor. In terms of the announcement, there is a change here in terms of the lease, right? What is the significance from the state's thoughts of the lease now being with New York State as opposed to Erie County? Why did that happen, and what does that mean moving forward for this?
So this remains a state asset. The state is contributing, 43% of the overall cost, but a significant share. And we'll have a stadium commission that oversees decision-making. The county will have a major role in this. So this was agreed to with the County of Erie, Mark Poloncarz, as well as the state, to make sure that we then collectively work together to make sure that we can handle any future expenses, whether it's, future maintenance and repairs. We're setting aside money for that. So that's all in that larger context. The lease itself still has to be negotiated, and that's something we'll be undertaking as soon as we get the money approved by the legislature.
Thanks very much, Governor. Your next question comes from Brayton Wilson of WBEN News Radio 930. Brayton, your mic is open.
Hi, Governor Kathy Hochul. I just wanted to ask you, in terms of with the state paying out, how much will the state pay out annually in operating and capital expenses to own the stadium as this transition kind of goes over from Erie County to the state?
The state had already been, based on a previous agreement, had been making significant contributions, about $12 million a year toward game day expenses and operating expenses. So we're basically shifting that money into a fund to be able to prepare us for future expenses and maintenance, and make sure that we don't allow the stadium to fall into disrepair the way it had been. We need to keep making sure that we fortify it so it can last even longer than 30 years. So it's basically the same amount of money that has been already agreed to and been paid out in the past, just under a different heading, and it's going to be used for different purposes.
Governor, your next question comes from Ron Plants of WGRZ. Ron, your mic is open.
Hi, Governor. When the whole discussion of a downtown stadium came up, part of the question always revolves around development around a stadium. Would you expect, with the stadium staying in Orchard Park, that we could perhaps see some more development around the stadium? Obviously, the stadium is the focus right now, but years to come, would you expect to see development around that stadium in Orchard Park?
Those are conversations we're having with the team and with the county right now. I mean, there's quite a bit of land there. There's a possibility for different types of development. And also, that was one of my areas of interest in having originally looking at downtown, because of the area we were talking about is really an area that needs a lot of redevelopment and revitalization. So I'm also committed to looking at the properties around, the Perry Street projects and that part of the city, to find ways we can jumpstart development there as well. So this could be a real win-win for both Orchard Park as well as downtown ultimately.
Thank you, Governor. Our final question this afternoon comes from WBFO News. Your mic is open. Go ahead and open your mic.
Sorry about that. So our question is that we understand that Erie County will transfer ownership of the current stadium, and including the practice facilities and office space to the state. We're wondering why this is, and what will it mean for the future of the stadium, being state-owned rather than county-owned.
Because the state is the major investor in this facility, and therefore it makes sense that we also take responsibility for, managing the stadium. And again, this is in direct partnership with the county. I mean, this is a shared agreement in making sure that the right decisions are made in terms of the use of the stadium, and also the maintenance, making sure that it's an asset that we continue to see appreciate over time. Well, with that, I want to thank everybody for participating. It's a great news day for Western New York, and all I can say is go Bills.